We are back with another segment of the Banana Peels show with your host, Banana. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe on the channel. It really does help the channel grow. And yeah, man, looking forward to more content that I'll be creating for you guys. So tune in, watch the channel. And today we are discussing none other, in anticipation, the UEFA Champions League. And wow, it's been so great to watch so far. Just to think about how the group stages panned out, leading towards the qualification playoff round, now into the round of 16. Round of 16 starts on the 4th of March, next Tuesday. So shout out to the organizers of UEFA, man. They must be feeling very vindicated, because this is arguably one of the best UEFA Champions League by far that we've seen. So let's see what happens, man. And the brackets are all set in. We know who's gonna face who. We know who's gonna face who, essentially. And yeah, man, it's really exciting. But without wasting any further time, just to get into it, I think who I look at as the favorites, it's very tricky. I know initially, when Liverpool were leading the pack, I was sort of saying that they were the favorites. They still are, really. Don't get me wrong. If you look at their bracket and who they might have to face to get to the Champions League final, it's very they have good odds. They have very good odds if you think about it. Real Madrid are still there. Definitely, they are the defending champs. They'll be looking at getting a repeat, back to back. We know it won't be the first time they do that. Zidane did that with that special team that he had, of course, when he three-peated, went on a hat-trick run with Real Madrid. So Real Madrid are still there. They are the kings of this competition, to everyone's dislike, so to speak. So they're still there, and they always have a chance. Barcelona are back in the running for it as well. And yeah, I know a lot of people are hoping for an El Clasico final. That has never happened ever in the history of UEFA. I know I'm hoping that there is one, because the brackets are set up pretty well for that to happen for both teams, should they, progress very seamlessly throughout their brackets. They can go on to face each other. But so many talking points, and I'd like to start with just firstly I think the biggest fixture of this round for me is Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. And this is only because Atletico Madrid have proven themselves this year to be a contender in everything. In every tournament that they are going into, they've proven themselves to be a contender, and they are having a very good season. They're on course to also go on a triple run, where they would win either the Champions League, the La Liga, or the Copa del Rey. So they definitely are on course to win everything and every competition that they're playing for. So shout out to Real Madrid, shout out to Atletico Madrid, as Diego Simeone. I think he has done an exceptional job with this squad over the past 10 years now. I think he's been one of the best coaches in Europe, ultimately. And when you look at his record overall in UEFA and in La Liga, I think he's on course this year to have a very good season. They have a very good record against Real Madrid this year. So I know they'll be pretty much fired up, especially after losing the way they did with that infamous loss against Real Madrid in previous years. I know he'll be fired up, and he'll be cheering on his guys, and he'll be preparing them mentally to win against Real Madrid. It's a rivalry that we all know. So I definitely would like to see Atletico Madrid top Real Madrid over this one. I know Madrid has got the firepower, Mbappe, Rodrigo, Vinicius, Bellingham, and the likes. But really, when they play against Atletico Madrid, you see another side of Atletico Madrid come out, and they are a very solid squad, are Atletico Madrid. I think the one missing piece that they did add this year was Julian Alvarez. Had they not added him, I don't think they'd be in a position that they're in right now. And he's proven to be a very, very good signing for them. So shout out to Julian Alvarez. Shout out to Diego Simeone and the work that he's done. That's going to be an interesting one to watch. For me, I feel like that's the best fixture out of all the 8 games that we're going to have ultimately. So shout out to Atleti. I really, really hope that they get to knock out Real Madrid. And yes, I'm not a Real Madrid fan, as you can tell, but that's neither here nor there. And I also think Liverpool Paris is going to give us some fireworks. Simply because Paris are and have been playing very well over the past couple of seasons. In terms of just the continuity, I think the past 2 seasons, I would argue, including this season, they've been playing very well. This season, they are definitely on course to win the League R again. So they're back, so to speak. And I don't think they have the pressure that they used to have when Mbappe was there, when Messi was there, when Neymar was there. So I think that playing without that chip on their shoulder puts Paris in a much better position. And I could see them sort of, making a run here. And they are a threat to Liverpool for sure, because everyone has Liverpool pegged to win this one. Simply because of their record. They are also the best team in England right now. They have one of the best players in the world in Mo Salah, arguably who's set to win the Ballon d'Or this time around for his performance, which we'll see, of course, ultimately. But he's putting up amazing numbers, is Mo Salah. Van Dijk, very stoic in defense. Trent, they are performing really well, I should say. Liverpool, they had the best record this year in the UEFA Champions League, which saw them qualify automatically, of course, into the round of 16. So it's really going to be interesting to see if Bacola and company, Ousmane Dembele and them do have just a trick up their sleeve. For me, I don't see Liverpool struggling against Paris. However, you never know in the Champions League, right? And it may be something that they were not expecting themselves, and it may come as a surprise to everyone should PSG beat Liverpool. But it's going to be an interesting one, I should say. It's probably one of those fixtures that we were hoping for to get a big name club against a big name club, and we got that. We got that with the format this year and with the new round of 16 just coming up. But Liverpool, going to be an interesting one. Should they win this one, I don't see them not going to the final. Honestly, I don't see them not going to the final should they get past Paris, because should they get past Paris, they're either going to play Aston Villa or Brugge, and should they beat either one of those guys, they're either going to face Arsenal or PSV or Real Madrid or Atletico. So Liverpool, I think, have the experience. They've won it. The players, they have won it. And that's what it takes to win the Champions League. It's just that experience. Having been there, having done it, I think that's going to work in their favor. So shout out to Liverpool. Let's see how far they go. And yeah, another talking point that I do feel is one to look at is Bayern and Bayer Leverkusen. And this is only because Xabi Alonso is unbeaten. He's unbeaten against Bayern Munich, and this is sort of a make or break for these two young coaches. One coach, of course, here being the former Man City man Vincent Kompany, who is now the coach of Bayern Munich, and Xabi Alonso, who is solidifying himself as to be the one of the the great young coaches in Europe. We saw the work he did with Bayer Leverkusen last year, and just hoping that he gets through Bayern Munich to go into the semis to face either Inter or Feyenoord, and hopefully make his way to the final. It's going to be an interesting one for Bayer Leverkusen because they play such an exciting brand of football. But Bayern have the benefit of history behind them. They have the benefit of quality behind them too, with the players that they have, and some experience too. Most of those players have been playing Champions League for many years now. They've got that under their belts. They've got that experience going in. Some of them have won the Champions League in that Bayern Munich team. So, and as I said, that's what it takes to win the Champions League. It takes experience. We've seen that multiple times with Real Madrid and other teams that have won over the past couple of years. And shout out to that entire sort of matchup ultimately between Bayer Leverkusen, Bayern Munich, Feyenoord, Inter. Also, Inter are coming back up, looking to solidify themselves after they lost in the finals against Manchester City 2 years ago. But let's see where they go. Let's see how far Inter goes to. Dortmund and Lille is also said to be an exciting one, with two underdogs going at each other. You never know who's actually gonna win. So I have either one of those teams going through. Dortmund have had a very good season this year, very good scoring season also, I should say. I think Guirassy is the top goal scorer in the Champions League. That's their striker. I think he's, excuse my pronunciation, but I think it is Guirassy. He is their top goal scorer right now in the Champions League. So it'll be interesting to see how many goals they score and if they actually go through to the semifinals to face either Benfica or Barcelona. And that sort of segues me onto Barcelona, actually. And wow, they are an interesting team because of the high line that they play ultimately. I think Hansi Flick has them playing in a sort of system that he likes, that he prefers, and they stick to it. They live and die by that high line. And I can't hate on that. I can't hate on a team that has a system to play with. And you see that with them. They concede a lot of goals, yes, but they score a lot of goals too. I think they're outscoring the whole of Europe right now. So in as much as their defense is not as good, it's very porous, I should say. It's a very porous defense and they're just letting in goals. But they're scoring and they're outscoring their opponents. It's definitely not something you can just live by all the time. You know, you need to defend. You need to make sure that you're not letting in goals. So just to depend and rely on, I'll just outscore my opponents, is a very dangerous game to play in the Champions League, ultimately. And they're facing a Benfica side that's very dangerous too. And we've seen how porous Barcelona's defense is. So should they slack and play that high line? I think teams know how to go for that high line. You just need pace around the wings. Ultimately play the ball across and play the ball over the top. And it's as easy as that. Then you have a one-on-one with the keeper in Szczesny, who's a very good keeper, don't get me wrong, but we know he just came out of retirement, right? And he's not a Ter Stegen, who is their number one and their captain. So it's going to be an interesting watch for Barcelona. And should they get through to the semifinals too, they are either going to face Dortmund or Lille. And I don't see them not dispatching either one of those teams too. So this is going to be a big test for Hansi Flick's team and their mental, just how far they can go, just how strong mentally they are, and if they are really that hungry to win the Champions League this year, which I really hope they are, because then we are looking at the possibility of an El Clasico final. We've never seen that. I would love to see that. I'd love to have an El Clasico final, just to have one for the books, just to get it out of the way, especially with these new crop of players, which may be scary for Barca because it may signal a new dominance, and just for the whole of Europe, it may signal a new dominance era in Real Madrid again. which they've dominated over years, but this may see that new era, that Kylian Mbappe era of dominance again for Real Madrid and across Europe. So shout out to Barca. They've been playing extremely well, scoring very beautiful goals, team goals. Rafinha has been on a tear. I believe Robert Lewandowski is the second top goal scorer in the Champions League this year. He's also having a very, very good run. And shout out to him. Shout out to essentially Robert Lewandowski. Very, very good player. And despite him being on the older side, he's been on a tear. He's definitely been on a tear. And then we have, I believe Arsenal are going to be playing PSV. Arsenal they are injury ridden, not having a very, they're not very lucky with injuries. But they are either going to face Atletico or Real Madrid. And, no one has them beating either one of those two teams ultimately. But should they go ahead, it'll be a very good run for the Arsenal team too. PSV nonetheless would be the same if they beat Arsenal to go on face Atleti or Real Madrid. No one has them winning either one of those fixtures, but it's going to be an interesting run to see how far they go too. And we also have Aston Villa and Club Brugge, who may face either Liverpool or Paris. And those two teams are also the underdogs. Aston Villa just signed Marcus Rashford. I think he's registered to play the Champions League. Yeah, should be. Club Brugge, also an underdog. And let's see how Aston Villa does and how they fare out in the Champions League. Unai Emery is an amazing coach. He's an amazing coach, and I have no doubt that he's going to get the best out of those players. So shout out to Aston Villa for making it this far, and hopefully they can, just push it a little bit extra. It's a good story for the underdog. And then there'll be Feyenoord and Inter, who are also going to match up to face either Bayer or Leverkusen. So Bayern Munich or Bayer Leverkusen face either one of those. So let's see how that goes too. Let's see if Inter are going to go back to the top again and reach the finals this year. They are in prime position to do that. They are in prime position to do that. So let's hope that they actually get to do that. Not a fan of Inter, but they're a very stoic team. They're very much organized, very good defensively, very good going forward too. So not very much you can say wrong about Inter Milan. So shout out to them. Let's see how far they go. And yeah, that brings us to the end of this segment. It's going to be the UEFA Champions League round of 16 going forward to the last 8 semi-finals and finals. I am personally excited for these matchups, and shout out to UEFA, man. And yeah, let's see on the other side of the segment when we hopefully preview the semi-finals and finals of the Champions League. But let's see how it goes, man. Those are my outlooks for this year. You hit me up, let me know what you think and who you think is going to win the Champions League this year. I still don't have a team that I just think is going to win. I just want to classic or final, really. But shout out to all the teams that are still there. It's been an exciting run so far, and shout out to the UEFA organizers for changing the tournament format. It has been exciting. They should be feeling vindicated. And yeah, until next time, this is your boy Banana on the Banana Peels Show. Thank you so much for tuning in.